In this video, I'm gonna talk about Haiku the robot. The year is after the end. The entire planet nuked itself silly, and mankind is probably to blame, because that is just what humanity does whenever it has any amount of free time to itself. The world now belongs to robots, and the great majority of them live a pitiful existence where they attempt to kill anything that displays any sign of intelligence. As the most intelligent creature in the room, it goes without saying that you will have an uphill battle on your hands. But your saving grace is that you are controlled by a human being through the magic of the fort wall, and you have a sword at your disposal. It is the perfect weapon for the occasion, seeing as the early enemies can do little more than headbutt you, and late-game enemies shoot projectiles that you can nullify with a swing of your almighty weapon. If you enjoyed Super Metroid, then you will be happy to know that this game is Super Metroid with a sword instead of a gun. You are offered no guidance whatsoever. Nobody tells you where to go, nobody even suggests what your next move should be, and it is up to you to figure out what paths have been opened by obtaining your latest ability. It goes to such an extent that I was never quite sure if I was headed down the right path, and I do actually believe that I inadvertently skipped over a few boss fights along the way, because I would leave a tricky area only to pop into a much easier one. It all works out in the end quite simply because many of the movement abilities overlap one another in some aspects. Although you are not completely isolated, your fellow friendly faces cannot do much more than provide commentary or sell you upgrade parts to tweak your abilities. The entirety of the grunt work falls on you, and you will accomplish your work thanks to an attack button, a jump button, a dash button, a roly-poly button, and a self-repair button. Not documented is the fact that you can choose to attack straight up or down, but your swing is at such a wide angle by default that the difference is minimal. Much of the scenery consists of desolation accompanied by music that is far more atmosphere than melody. It serves to wrap everything up into the vibe it seeks to convey, be it an oppressive machinery, a claustrophobic boiler, or the safety of the fast travel system. Not everything is necessarily on a quest to kill you, and the contrast between the safe havens and the great indoors make the both of them better as they play against each other. It is all too easy to get lost into the world at hand and to follow one fork in the road after another until you run into a completely new area. In you comes a feeling of willful abandonment, like realizing that you are on a back road all by yourself and you suddenly experience the rush of existential freedom. You are not a speck, insignificant and unnoticed. You have simply snuck, and the universe was none the wiser. For all the ruin and desolation of the mechanized world, and whatever implication there was of humans committing a grave mistake, there is no fable or environmentalist message to be found. Rather, it puts the stage together and is then barely spoken of again. There are more pressing concerns to get to, bigger fish to fry, and the bygones will just have to remain bygones. That, as well, is liberating. It frees up space in the universe for something to stand under its own power, propelled only by what has been drawn on the surface of the canvas and nothing else. It can be appreciated, yet without a feeling of childishness, because the professionalism can be seen in every stroke. The choices that have been made were conscious. The ideal was achieved not when there was nothing more to add, but when there was nothing left to take away. In short, this game is Super Metroid with a sword instead of a gun. I told you, follow.